Hey guys, it's your girl Victoria back to you with another review of Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 11, called Caution Feelings Approaching. And it seems like most of these couples' feelings are approaching at the end of this episode if they're not already in love or in like whatever. But let's just, quite a few notes here, so let's just go get started. Start off with Rachel and Jose. They're sitting down to talk. And I guess Rachel's still waiting on an apology from Jose because, Jose's just being a Jose or his version of a Jose, just saying, not trying to apologize. Rachel really wants this apology because she's just like, man, I ain't trying to ruin this check. I'm trying to be in life with you, to be in love with you, to get back in love with you because the fact that you didn't apologize, I can't get to that point. You need to apologize first, which I can understand. Like, you ain't gonna just be talking to me any type of way and think we just gonna move forward. We just gonna be cool without you apologizing. So I get that, but on the same aspect, it's like I ain't gonna just try to get back with you for talking to me any type of way. We need to set some boundaries before we even try to move forward. But Jose, I guess, gets a little angsty because he just goes into the defending his case about locking the door, that it was an accident, and he has to secure his place of living before he goes to bed, secure his property, even though I know a lot of people, a lot of reviews were saying you don't even like pay for the place. Regardless of the fact, I get it. If I was a guest at somebody's house and I'm sleeping in the guest room, I'm locking the door. Point blank, period. Because of the way I like to sleep, I am locking the door. So I can get Jose's aspect regardless if he's paying for the place or not. He's staying there for 2 months. So maybe an unpopular opinion, don't care, but I get that. But at the same time, come on, if your wife is going outside to walk the producer to the car or whatever the case may be, you gonna deadbolt the door. He knew what he was doing. Ain't no accidentally. Come on. But Rachel just still wants the apology because he's not saying what she wants him to say. And Jose is starting to get a little upset, saying, just get over it. It's like, let's just move past this. We can't, how can we move past this? You just gonna keep talking about the same thing. And Rachel, she kind of cries a little bit and just doesn't want history to repeat itself. And she just like wishes he would just apologize for his actionness. And Jose finally, after a little beggingness from Rachel, he finally comes out with an apology and said that it only happened once, it's only going to happen once, and he's sorry for locking her out. And Rachel feels so much better, and pretty much she's going to give Jose a second chance. And I'm like, I feel like you guys should have a more in-depth conversation about this, but okay, I guess this is to the point where you can have a more in-depth conversation, because even Jose was like, he doesn't want to do this right now and he could talk about it later because he's the type of person when he gets angry, we can't talk about the conversation right now because he's just gonna blow up like the way he did on Rachel. So for future reference, she gonna have to give him some time to cool off before they can have a conversation in that aspect again. Well, we move on to Brett and Ryan. Ryan and Brett, they sit down for breakfast. Brett is still drinking this nasty sludge that Ryan concocted in a blender. And Ryan sets a hunt for Brett. He sees that Brett is trying, so and therefore, in retaliation, he's gonna try to. So he sets up a little scavenger for Brett. So she's reading notes, going around wherever the note she reads takes her to, and it gets to a note on the camera on the wall, whatever. And I guess it's a thank you note with a gift card to Lulu's, whatever that is, and he's just happy to be with her. He thanks her for, how she is, and she's a sweet girl, all that stuff. So Brett's really happy and appreciated of that. And in Brett's confessional, she states how Ryan is the type of person who doesn't say it verbally, but he will write it down to tell you his feelings. And she thinks that's very sweet of him. And I'm like, okay, that kind of reminds me of my husband, even though he will verbalize it. But he does like to write notes, which I love, and I keep every one of them. Thank you, love. Moving on to Mikayla and Zach. They go to salsa dancing with Marilla and Gil. Marilla and Gil arrives there first. Marilla's saying it's past her bedtime. She's tired, but I will give it to Marilla. She does pull through and do the whole salsa dancing with the crew. So Zach and Mikayla arrives, and the instructor is the last person to arrive. I don't know if he was waiting in the back for everybody to arrive. Doesn't matter. So he instructs them to salsa dance, whatever. Everybody's salsa dancing. It seems like it's going well. But then Mikayla just stops and she quits. And Zach is just, in the confessional, he said he's not surprised because she's the type of person that she's very hot and cold, hot or cold. So Mikayla just steps back, she sits down, and Zach proceeds to dance with the instructor while Marilla and Gil are dancing together. And in my personal opinion, I'm just like, Mikayla, I wish you would just go through with it. Like, you knew what you was coming to do, and I guess later on, a few moments later, she's gonna explain why she just stopped. But in my head, I'm like, even though sometimes if I'm done, I'm still gonna push through. Like, it's only gonna be a few more minutes of your time, and now you just know for next time, if you not really feeling salsa dancing like that, you don't have to do it again. But to the fact you just say, okay, I'm done. Sorry, you're on your own. Come on now. If it was something that you really wanted to do, Mikayla, and Zach were just to be like, okay, I'm stopping, I'm done. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like that either. But I guess because she's in a mood about how he's been acting, I guess I understand why she is not in the mood to put forth effort. But at the same time, if you guys are both trying to move forward, you're going to have to let bygones be bygones in a certain aspect of trying to move forward. Because if you can't let certain things go, you never going to move forward. Anywho, after they stop salsa dancing, the instructor leaves. Uh, Gil, Marilla, and Zach sit down with Mikayla to talk, and Gil comes to his boy's defense. He comes to Zach's defense, saying, why'd you stop dancing? And she said she was just done. And like, I tried it, I'm done, and that's that. And Gil could kind of understand what she's saying, but he's like, how does that, from what you just did in this instance, how does that compare to the relationship? So Mikayla's just like, well, I feel like we're not moving forward. And Zach is kind of surprised. I'm like, Zach, how are you surprised with all these feelings Mikayla's having? After how many times she's been done said to you she's not feeling, the relationship is progressing and feels like at a 50%. Why are you still assuming, like, being surprised that she's feeling not 100% in the relationship? When you seem like you're not 100% in a relationship. Make it make sense, Zach. But anywho, she's just like, she wants to feel wanted. And she's not feeling wanted by Zach. So therefore, she's not feeling like she should put 100% in because she doesn't feel that Zach is putting 100% in. She didn't say that word for word. As you know, I just paraphrase. And Zach's explanation or excuse is like, he understands where she's coming from, but at the same time, just because he says he doesn't see a future with her doesn't necessarily mean there won't be a future with them. And I get what Zach is saying, but I don't get what he's saying because you literally told her you don't see a future. I understand, like, right now you guys may be rocky, but she's just like, the question is, do you eventually see things could get better? Technically, yes, it can get better if you guys both stop being immature about it and learn to communicate and move forward without holding grudges or without, bringing this situation back up. And him saying, just because I say I don't see one doesn't mean there necessarily won't be one. Yes, I get that's true. But at the same time, it's like you saying you don't see one just means like, oh, we can never get past this. And if that's the case, why are we still here? Why are y'all still together and trying to do these activities, Zach, if you feel like you can't get past what she done did with the little 3B's story situation? And same thing for Mikayla. Like, why are you still doing these activities if you feel like you're not 100% in? That's why y'all both need to figure out what y'all want to do. Do you want to be in this marriage or not? Because if you do, you're going to have to learn to, like I said, let bygones be bygones and move forward with the relationship. Obviously, because of the situations that happen, you're going to keep that in the back of your mind to, kind of try to check that if it happens again. But you can't let it hold you from not even progressing the relationship at all because there's no point to even be in the relationship, man. I don't got time for this mess. We move on to Brett. Who gets home, I guess she finds 2 piles of vomit on the floor and it's like straight bile. So with her dog Baxter, so she rushes her dog to the ER, to the vet ER. And I guess the problem is her dog has severe kidney failure and they have a 50% chance of survival. And I'm just like, just the way I seen the from the previews, I'm like, this doesn't sound like it's gonna go good, but I'm gonna keep out a little bit of hope. And that's where that whole scene ends, because I guess she was talking with a friend on the phone. But I was just like, oh no, like I don't want, I no. Moving on to Jose and Rachel. They're sitting in the bed talking, and Jose's just like, it's been a long week, it's been a tough few days, and he realizes he's not as perfect as he thought he was. We could have told you that, Jose. Your family could have probably told you that. But he pulls out these notes that he wrote of how he promises to be better in the relationship. First thing was he promises not to lock her out no more. He promises to be a better listener, this and that and that, and just overall be a better guy, not to be so controlling anymore. And Rachel appreciates that he wrote that, and in return, she says she promises that she'll be more upfront about her feelings and not wait till like a big blow up to bring out this letter of all the things he's been doing wrong. So Jose appreciates that as well. And Jose said he's in it for the long haul. They hug and make up. And I'm like, okay, if you guys both want to move forward, fine. That's totally up to you guys. This is your relationship. We're just watching, on the back burner. That's America. But I mean, if y'all okay, listen, marriage is not easy. You're gonna have blow ups. You're just gonna have to work on figuring out how to not have blow ups to the point you guys are cussing each other out, Jose. But okay, y'all moving forward. So the couples gets their 1 month anniversary. Johnny and Bao, they go skydiving and jumping out of planes and whatnots, because I guess it was on Bao's bucket list. So they seem like they enjoyed it. It seems to go well. We move on to Marilla and Gil. They go to a winery. Gil puts a blindfold on Marilla. He's like, I got you a blindfold. That's not gonna mess up with your lashes. And she's like, but this is like not in fashion. Like, this is not fashionable. Marilla, you only gonna be wearing it for 2 minutes. Shut up. So I guess he sets up a nice cute picnic. They got a whole tower of macaroons, uh, with some like gold glitter paint on them, like probably edible paint or whatever. And we got some wine, of course, because they're at a winery, and cheese and hors d'oeuvres, all that stuff, charcuterie board, what? Okay. He takes the blindfold glasses off Marilla, and she's just like, "Oh, this is so sweet. Oh, I love this." He went above and beyond. I love my husband. This is amazing. Of course it is. So they sit down, because she's like, even though she's not really a wine drinker and stuff like that, she always wanted to experience a winery, which I can get. I told my husband, I'm like, that's the one thing I probably agree with Marilla on. Like, I don't drink alcohol like that, but I would like to experience like a winery type of stuff, because it's just, people make alcohol and wine look like it tastes so good, but then you taste it and just like, for me at least, I'm like, I'm good. But anywho, they sit down, they talk about how the month has been, and I thought I heard something, but they go and talk about how the month has been since they got married. And Marilla said everything's been going good except for his snoring and something else. I don't remember what else she said. But Gil said the same thing. Everything is going good. It's just that she's whining. She acts like a brat, like a child. So, that's kind of like the big issue, which we probably going to see later on is going to become a bigger issue for him. And Marilla's just like, well, you get what you get. You get what you see. So Gil agrees with that, and he likes that they're taking it slow and they're coasting through. Whereas in his past relationships, he's started off hot, and it kind of just dried up in the once they got to the nitty gritty of the relationship. So he just likes the way it's going with Marilla, and he's starting to fall in love, and Marilla likes Gil too. She didn't say that she was starting to fall in love or that she's in love, but she did say that she likes Gil. Moving on to Johnny and Bao, they go out to lunch, and Johnny starts off that he's 100% committed to Bao, and he talks about wanting to be spontaneous and be in the moment, then goes on to talking about sex, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen during the day, or it doesn't seem expected during the day, but at night, I guess they get into it, they do the do, and I guess what Bao says, well, you have to touch me more. And like she just reaches her arms out for him. And immediately Johnny gets like upset. And in his confessional, he's like, this is what I'm talking about. So then it goes to the flashback of him telling Bao in front of Pastor Cal that when she gets excited, she gets giddy and it comes off as her acting like a child. And he gets annoyed, and from what you see on the cameras when Bao's talking to him at the restaurant or whatever, I'm just looking at his face like instantly get red. And I get that Bao said that she doesn't pick up on like social cues, but in that moment, I'm looking at Johnny. I'm like, nigga, you getting pissed off? Like I would if I was Bao, I would be like, what's wrong? Why are you getting upset right now? Because you can see him getting red. You can see him like tensing up. So Bao just keep talking like she don't even realize this, and she's talking. You can see Johnny just kind of just being stiff with it and whatnot, and she just doesn't pick up on social cues. And I'm just like, Bao, I'm gonna need you to take a body language class. Like I only read like a book on a body language class, so I don't even know too much about body language like that. But at the same time, it's common sense. I don't know, but so she goes into talking, and I guess she's saying she's trying to ask him more questions and whatnot, and Johnny's asking her what does he need to do for her, and and what is Bao said? Bao asks for more cuddles, and Johnny makes an excuse of, it gets hot and it gets sweaty, when they cuddle because of the temperature and stuff. And in my head, I'm like, Johnny, didn't you say you like cuddles? Didn't you say you like for the girl to be the bigger spoon and you be the smaller spoon? Didn't you say that when you before you even got married? When I don't know, Johnny. Like you confusing me a little bit right now. Um, did you tell Bao that you like your ass smacked or something? I don't know. For me, I just feel like Johnny wants to love, but he doesn't know how to show love other than sex. I feel like sex is his only form of intimacy that he can show. And later on, we're gonna get into he don't even really initiate it. Bao's the one initiating it. I don't know. We gonna talk a little bit more about it towards the end of the episode because that's when Johnny just gets so frustrated and over it. But we get to Zach and Mikayla. They go out for dinner, and I guess Mikayla surprises Zach with dinner and the piano since he plays piano. And supposedly, from what Mikayla is saying, I guess they had a conversation the night before, and Mikayla just asked Zach to be his happy self, the happy Zach that was, his personality when they first met at the altar. So she just wants that happy Zach back. And he seems happy for the day. Seems to be going well. They laugh and they joke and they talk and whatever. It's cute. Not much to say about that. So we move on to Brett. And unfortunately, I didn't want it to happen from when I was seeing the episode in the beginning. But unfortunately, Brett had to put her dog Baxter down. Rest in peace, Baxter. And I don't know how she did it. I don't know if it was the same day, but she still pushes through to go on a date with Ryan. I don't know if it's the same day, but girl, if you did, kudos to you. Like, I can only imagine. I never personally had a dog, but my husband has had numerous dogs, and unfortunately, they all have passed. So I can get the emotion. I can completely understand the emotion. I haven't went through it personally, but I can only imagine as a dog owner, you've been with the dog for years and lived with them, grew a bond with them. You love the dog, the dog loves you, and of course the dog is dependent on you. So of course that's like your little kid. So I totally get it, and I feel so bad for Brit. I'm surprised she didn't like full blown cry on this episode. So I'm pretty sure she stayed tough on camera, but probably off camera obviously she probably cried. So I'm so sorry for you, Brett. So sorry for everyone who knew Baxter. Rest in peace once again to Baxter. And hopefully, I don't know, some people never get dogs again, but hopefully you get another dog to hopefully make you happy again. So she goes on a date with Ryan. They go to the movie theater, and they watch their wedding day together on the big screens. And while they're watching, Ryan says in a confessional, it's been a month since they've been married. And his feelings for her are now less than on the first night, because the first night he had all these expectations and was so excited, and now after the month he just feels like it's kind of flatlined. And in my head I'm like, yeah, probably because she didn't give you no puss yet. You probably just waiting on the puss for you to feel like, oh, I'm head over heels. So you pretty much want lust over love, because love takes time to grow for some people. Some people, yes, it could be, I mean, not love at first sight, but it could definitely grow quick. But whereas with Brett, I think because you guys are on two different levels of intimacy, that you feel like, okay, this might not work out because, I didn't even get to see how that punani feels yet. And even if he didn't feel the punani, she's not someone who just gonna be all up on you to be like, yeah, let's dry hump or something. So you just feel like, we're cruising, as Gil says, but not to the point of where you want to be cruising, because you want to already be in them sheets in that thing. So yeah, I get it, Ryan. You want to fuck. Brett clearly is a slow burning candle type of situation. So I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a compromise. I don't know if Ryan's not talking to Brett, but if anything, I know he tried to do it while they was doing the massage, but for me, it just came off the wrong way. I feel like I know we watch the show to understand these people. I get that, but probably because I'm a private person, I'm about to say this, but you need to have this conversation off camera. I say this with a lot of different people, a lot of different scenarios, but he probably needs to just, once the filming's done for the day, everybody go home, go sleep. They need to go to their bedroom, because I think that's the only place where the camera's not like on the wall, is in the bedroom, obviously, for obvious reasons. And he just needs to tell Brett, like, listen, I know it's been 2 years since you had sex. I know it's gonna take time for you to get to where you want to get in order to do that thing, the thing. But for me, sex is an important thing for me in relationships, and I just feel like we need to, try to build intimacy. Not necessarily just go straight to fucking, but I appreciate physical intimacy, such as, not just sitting, touching each other on the couch, but like sometimes, having make out sessions, because I feel like whenever they kiss, it's just pecks. No, can we do like a nice, slow, sensual kiss? Not the one that Johnny be doing, seeming like he in a porno movie video, or whatever. I heard someone say that, and I'm like, that's exactly what it is. But something, give him a little something, Brad, without giving him sex. And Ryan, good to you. Kudos to you for trying to put some spice into the relationship, and doing stuff for her just as she does for you. But let's make it a little bit more romantic. I feel like his stuff is kind of rookie, mediocre-ish. In my personal opinion, I feel like if you want to get that romance, Ryan, you gonna need to put a little bit more work. I ain't gonna say spend all that money that Gil probably spent to do a private picnic at the winery or whatnot. But I don't know. I just feel like Ryan needs to spice it up a little bit to do more romance, and not make no more mud smoothies. Uh, or make it look better, Ryan, because that thing looked terrible. Brett, just give in a little more. I told you to give him a lap dance or something. I know right now you're not in the mood to, because you're going through some personal situations, with the family death. But hopefully you can push through to connect more with Ryan on a physical aspect, and not just playing games. So we move on to Marilla. She sets up a nice romantic dessert for Gil. You see the candles and rose petals, and Gil makes a joke like, oh, she about to start a fire, because he's a firefighter, and has these chocolate covered strawberries and other types of desserts and whatnot. Gil gets her and him some like matching t-shirts. Her t-shirt says I am everything. His t-shirt says I have everything. She loves it, of course, because that's kind of like she's the one and only, the princess. And I guess the experts gave them a plaque of their vows for their 1 month anniversary. So they read the vows over to each other. And I guess they also got a wedding book of their wedding, and they look over the pictures. And Gil, in the middle of the night, says he has one more gift for Marilla, and it's a pooper scooper. And okay, I guess it was like a funny little gift joke or whatever. But I'm just like, How late is it? Marilla's still up? I thought you said it was past your bedtime when he went to salsa dancing. So when's your bedtime, Marilla? I digress. We move on to Zach, and he sets up the bed, I guess, in their apartment, which is the same way he set up the bed on the wedding night, where it said "I love you" in the rose petals, and he picks her up and throws her on the bed just like he did the wedding night, and they pop some bubbly and they talk about where they were on their wedding day to where they are now. Seems like it's getting a little bit better, and for her anniversary gift, got Zach got her a little bracelet, so she loves it. Mikayla says she loves him, and I'm like, oh, okay, dang. See, Zach, all it took for you was to try again, put all forth your effort into the relationship, and look, now she love you, bro. And so they get into their, matching robes and stuff, and get into the bed. And then we see 2 hours later, they went out to eat because they were hungry. And in my head, I'm like, hungry, eh? 2 hours later, you guys got in bed with robes on. You guys probably didn't have nothing under those robes. And once the cameras done left, you guys probably got it in. You probably knocked some boots. You probably had sex all up and through the bedroom. And 2 hours later, you probably worked up a sweat, worked up some hunger, because you burned some calories, and now you out eating. I ain't mad at it. Listen, that seemed like a great night. Should do that. Listen, I'll tell my husband now, like, hey, listen, after whenever that happens, we both off the next day too. Listen, you want to go to Tacos Al Carbone? They open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We move on to Jose and Rachel. He surprises her with a picnic on the baseball field, or a picnic dinner, whatever. And they play baseball with matching jerseys, and then they eat the lunch and dinner. Me and my husband were both looking at food. At first, I thought that was like meat covering a big behind sausage, but my husband was like, "No, that's the bone, girl. That's a big ass bone with all that." And listen, we are foodies. We love food, so I pay attention to the food, and I'm just like, "What the hell is that?" Because that thing, I'm like, I feel like you could only get that in Texas, probably, but I'm just that thing looks good and meaty. Anywho, we get back to Rachel and Jose. I was more, intrigued with the food and the scene, but they talk about what happened. Jose goes into the whole joint account thing, and he thinks, maybe they should just get separate accounts for their finances. And then Rachel's like, that's what I've been saying to you this whole time. And then Jose was like, oh, you did? Jose, you knew that's what she's been saying this whole time, but you want to make it seem like you the one who, all right. He's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I do need to listen more. And Rachel's just looking at him like, yeah, duh, nigga. So Rachel says she's glad what happened done happened, and their whole huge fight, because it helped arise some issues that they needed to talk about and get through. So I guess they kiss and make up. Like I said, if y'all gonna move forward, I mean, I guess, fine. Y'all doing this for the check at this point. But just work on being better, Jose. And Rachel, just work on being better in the aspect of sticking up for yourself and letting a nigga know when, like, he doing a little too much. Okay, so yeah, they get some makeup. We move on to Johnny and Bao. They go talk to their friends individually. Johnny goes to visit one of his friends, and I guess one of Bao's friends come to their apartment to visit and talk. So once Johnny sits down with his friend, he immediately goes into talking about Bao and what she needs to do better, and how she's always being serious whenever they, do a task at hand. She's always thinking about the end goal and not just being in the moment. And he talks about the whole painting situation. And the friend says in the confessional, maybe he just needs to stop thinking about all the negatives and focus on the positives. And even Johnny admits that he needs to initiate romance, but because of the fact that it's being asked of him, now he feels like he doesn't want to do it. And I know some people feel like that with certain aspects, and I think we all had a point where we feel like that. But in the case of a marriage, in the case of she needs that from you in order to grow in the marriage, I feel like that's very immature for Johnny to just immediately be like, oh, because she asked me to initiate romance more, I don't want to do it. Okay, so listen, I know Bao probably tired of us talking about her in the shower situation. But I'm pretty sure that's the same way Bao feels with you, Johnny, when you're telling her to she needs to take more showers and she don't want to do it. Seems very double standard, Johnny. You just want to feel how you feel and be justified to feel how you feel, regardless of the fact. And even when someone tells you, like, no, I'm not going to do it, you feel upset. But if when roles are reversed, it's the issue. No, John, that's not how it works. That's not how marriage works, Johnny. Johnny, you need to reevaluate yourself. And I hope you watch these episodes back and realize, like, yo, you got a problem. We move on to briefly to Bao and her friend. And she tells her friend he doesn't initiate romance enough. So they're pretty much talking about the same thing, but from their each side's point of view. And the friend says she needs to communicate with him more, and Bao says that he's used to the girls initiating, but she's not used to it. She's not really the touchy feely type of person. She's not really a physical aspect type of person. Whereas Johnny's a person who loves PDA. And we move back onto Johnny and his friend. He's like, he doesn't know how to initiate romance. And I'm just like, really, Johnny? Like, the friend is trying to give him advice on how to initiate, but I'm just like, Johnny, common fucking sense, bro. The way you like when girls initiate with you, you can't find a way to initiate that with Bao. Like, Johnny, I'm gonna need you to stop expecting the female to do everything, and as far as the romance aspect, and you to put in some work too. It's not just you being missionary and just pumping until you come and that's it. Like, no, it takes more for that. And what, she gotta get on top of you first? Like, no, listen, Johnny, you get on my nerves, bro. You get it on my nerves with this bullshit. You really get on my nerves. This is ridiculous, dog. Like, are you serious? Or are you just trying to find an issue so you could up and leave just like your daddy? Because that's what it seems like. You're just trying to find a reason to up and leave like your daddy. Because you probably thinking like, oh, I probably would have been on my 10th date by now. Johnny, if you're not ready for a marriage and ready to be in this whole thing, just say that. You kind of did a few episodes ago when you're saying you don't know if this is what you want to do. But I'm really thinking, nigga, you do not need to be here. You do not. You need to go to therapy, figure out why you got out. Well, we don't. We kind of already know at this point. But Johnny, you need to go to therapy, get through these feelings that you feel like you can do no wrong, but a female could do every damn type of wrong. It's like you need a female to worship the feet that you walk on. And granted, like I said, we're gonna get into it later, where I feel like Bao, she says something, but from the way Johnny's saying, that's not how it is, and we've seen some flashbacks. But at the same time, Johnny, nigga, you got some work to do with yourself too. Because for a female to be putting up with your shenanigans, from what we've seen, I can only judge based off what the producers show. You ain't shit either, bruh. You ain't shit either. So we move on to the couples. Everybody goes out for dinner. Gil's a spokesperson. He's always the person. Like, I'm sure the producers are the one giving Gil to ask the questions. And if not, Gil, you must have been like a spokesperson or what they call those, the speakers, whatever. You must have been that in your past life, because you the one who always the first to ask a damn question up in. Okay, he asks everyone, if everyone is falling in love or in like. Zach and Mikayla go first. They are smitten with each other. They're in love. Mikayla said she loved him. They kiss. They good. Cool. Move on to Rachel and Jose. They're good. She's in love again. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So you're a person to be quick to fall in love and out of love and then back in love, Rachel? Okay. Ryan was like, oh, I can see from Jose the way he's acting and nodding his head. He's liking what Rachel's saying. Yeah, because he's probably like, Rachel, you better not say no shit about me. You better not say shit. You better not be saying, Rachel, okay, if you want to keep me calm, cool, collected, me not outbursting, you better say the right thing. Okay, she's saying the right thing. She's saying the right thing. Ryan, shut up. We move on to Ryan and Brett, and Ryan's feeling a little jelly, a little jealous because he's seeing everybody's falling in love and falling in like and stuff, and he's still figuring out how he feels about Brett. So he says he cares about Brett so much, and it seemed like he was about to cry, and I'm just like, Ryan, why are you crying? You saying you having less feelings today than you did a month ago when y'all first got married. So what you crying for, Ryan? What is it? And so yeah, he said he cares about her so much. He cares about Brett so much. But they still working on they still working through some things, you know what I'm saying? They get through it. And Brett thanks everybody for reaching out to her because of her unfortunate passing of Baxter. But she sees a bright future for her and Ryan. She doesn't say that word for word. I'm just paraphrasing. We move on to Gil and Marilla. Gil says he's falling in love with Marilla. Marilla said she made the choice to love her husband. Okay, cool. That's good. Good for you all. None of America saw this coming. Especially from the first few episodes of Married at First Sight season 13. But it seems like you about to prove us all wrong. We gonna see. Because I did see a sneak peek for later on in the episode. And it's gonna be like a little bit of trouble in paradise. But whatever, they're good, whatever. And we finally get to Bao and Johnny. And Bao says she's still growing in like with Johnny. But she goes into the spiel that she's doing everything for him. And, he still wants her to initiate, especially in the romance. Johnny, you can tell Johnny is pissed. And he's just like sitting there quiet. And in the confessional, he's just like, Bao's saying way too much. Like, this is not, like, she's saying way too much. And one day everybody was like, okay, Johnny, what you gotta say? What do you gotta say, Johnny? And he's just like, there's a lie he wants to say, but he's gonna say it to his wife first. So Brad and everybody's like, oh, I respect that. I get that. That's, that's what's up. So it gets quiet. Johnny's ripping petals at this point at the table, and it gets super awkward. So I guess everybody is trying to talk and, move past it, but Johnny just gets up and goes outside. And of course, not Rachel, but not even Bao goes outside to check on him. Who goes outside to check on him? Jose, listen. The way Jose walked out, me and I busted out laughing because I'm like, what is Jose doing? He looked like, yeah, let me go. Yeah, let me go see what's going on with him, Yeah, let me go prep myself for another hug from Johnny Man, because we got a little bromance going. Yeah, what's going on, bruh? What's? Talk to me. Talk to me. What is it? What is it? So Johnny's just like, man, everything she's saying in there is a lie. Okay, she acts one way in front of people, but then behind closed doors when it's just us, she acts a whole different way. She's saying all this stuff that she's cooking and stuff. She only cooked for me once. She only cooks for me once. We don't do all that. She doesn't do all this stuff. She doesn't put actions behind her words. She says she does this, but she doesn't really do it. And then we see in flashbacks that they don't they be eating like college students, like a bachelor. Well, I don't know about bachelorette, but like a bachelor. Like, she eating Caesar salad for dinner one night. He comes home. She's just like, oh, yeah, I ate your Caesar salad. And he's just like, okay, that's fine. And I guess he made her some bar food, like some noodles. I forgot what he put in it. And she don't really be cooking. She be saying she don't got the time. But I'm just like, I mean, what you trying to cook? Like, because I guess she says she makes some gourmet meals. And then we see a flashback of her eating a Caesar salad. So maybe that one night she made him a gourmet meal, but Bao, if you're not making this nigga food, don't be saying you're making this nigga food. Like, I could, listen, when I can, I try, but listen, sometimes I'm just like, I can't do it for you, babe. I'm sorry. I can't do it for you. I can't make no gourmet meals because I don't got all the money in the world like Marilla to just be spending out like that. If I could, I would trust and believe. If I could, I would, but I can't. So anywho, sorry for that little side note, but Johnny's just like, nah, this is messed up. No, this is not how it goes. And So in this moment, Bao comes out with like leftovers because she probably won't eat that tomorrow for dinner because she don't be cooking like that. And she's just like, "Oh, is that the Uber? Is that the Uber? It's time to go, Johnny. It's time to go." So Jose gives Bao a hug that he probably wanted to give Johnny, and then gives Johnny some dab. Johnny and Bao they go to the Uber. He opens the door for her, but he looks like he doesn't even wanna. He looks like he's so uninterested, doesn't even want to get in a car with her, and they get in, they leave, and that's where the episode ends. And I'm just like, all right, Johnny, I get what you're saying. If she's saying one thing in front of the camera, in front of the people, and she's doing a whole different thing in closed doors at the house, yes, I could understand why you're upset. But to go to this part of just being pissed off and ripping rose petals, walking out and stuff, come on, Dad. I get it. And I totally agree with you in this aspect, Johnny, that she probably shouldn't have said all that at the dinner table because that's something it seems like y'all need to talk about. But at the same time, the fact that she's saying it to everybody else means that it's a real issue that she's having, and the fact that you're not initiating enough. She feels like she's doing all the work. Granted, she may not be cooking, but as far as the sex, she's initiating. And because the fact that she's initiating, you like that because that's what you're used to, Johnny. But at the same time, this is a marriage. You guys have to compromise. You got to put in some work too. And Bao, listen, you can make things look like gourmet meals that really ain't. Do you know a thing called Pinterest? You will find a lot of things on Pinterest. Now you got spreadsheets. Make a spreadsheet of gourmet meals you can make for the low low. Okay? And put in some work. You don't gotta do it every night, but let's start off with once a week, Bao, and then we'll move on to 2 times a week. I mean, I don't know. You be saying you making all this stuff, so as much type of times you probably be telling people you cook for him a week, actually do that and not no damn Caesar salad that you actually stole from Johnny. Not really stole, but you know what I mean. And I don't know, make it do what it do, Bow. Y'all both need to work on each other's relationship. Y'all both need to work on communication. You guys both need to work on finding ways to satisfy the other person. It's just not a one way street. And Bao, she says the way she shows love and whatever is through acts of service. But Bao, are you actually doing those acts of service? So I mean, obviously next week we're gonna see they're sitting down with Pastor Cal, and Pastor Cal mentioned something about he seems like his head is like his attention is in 2 different spots or something like that. And Bao asks him, is there somebody else? And it's like, Johnny, if you talking to other people, then hell no, I'm not gonna cook for you. Who do you know? Who do you think? Hell no. And I don't know. We just got to see what happens next week. I'm conflicted with both Johnny and Bao. They both just need to do better. Marilla and Gil, it seems like y'all falling in love or whatever. That's cute. Mikayla and Zach, it looks like y'all falling in love or whatever, but y'all both crazy at this point. Zach emotional AF. Michaela's crazy AF. So toxic. This seem like those toxic type of relationship, Zach and Mikayla. But we're gonna see what happens. Brett and Ryan, y'all just need a compromise. Y'all just need to have a serious conversation off camera so you could just really let everything out and figure out what y'all want to do. Well, we're gonna see maybe, Ryan probably talking to other females too, so I don't know. Cause he came really refreshed. I told you he probably was on ph.com, but I don't know. So we're gonna have to see what happens with that. But in this aspect, from what we've seen so far, Ryan, you just need to put a little bit more romantic effort. So such as Brett as well. Maybe not to the point of sex, but just to get things heated up. Why don't you try pushing Brett against the wall and kissing her to see how that works? I don't know. Jose and Rachel, I guess y'all making it do what it do. I don't know. Uh, keep trying, but we gonna. I don't know. From what we see, the next episode, Rachel gonna be coming with like summer. She goes. She trying to do her hot girl summer shit, and he just gonna have to deal with it. I don't know. These, like I said, these 5 couples is ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. This is the end of the episode, end of the review. I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. And until next time.